Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at some seriously fascinating research about how cutting-edge technology is fundamentally rewriting the rules of digital ownership, and, more importantly, protecting creators' wallets. We're going to explore the development of digital copyright licensing frameworks that are actually utilizing blockchain technology.
It's a question we literally all have to ask ourselves these days. I mean, if you've ever uploaded a piece of art, a video, a song, or even just a piece of code to the internet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You face this exact risk, losing control and ownership of your creations in a split second. The very moment you hit publish, your work can just be copied, shared, and monetized by someone else entirely, usually leaving you completely out of the loop. To demystify this whole thing, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The digital copyright dilemma. 2. The power of blockchain. 3. Automating with smart contracts. 4. A decentralized licensing marketplace. And 5. The future of creators. Starting off with Section 1, the digital copyright dilemma and our digital age challenge. Let's look at why our current systems are just completely failing the very people they were built to protect. The core conflict is basically a clash of eras. On one side, we have traditional certification. Think of your legacy copyright institutions. They're highly centralized, the process is super expensive, and it takes a ton of human resources just to track down rightful owners. But then, on the other side, we have today's digital information dissemination. The internet is fast, it's cheap, and it is borderless. Rapid sharing is just what we do. So the slow, expensive bottlenecks of centralized agencies absolutely clash with the lightning-fast nature of modern sharing. It's a massive friction point.
Moving on to Section 2, the power of blockchain, and finding a transparent solution.
So how do we actually fix this mess? Well, the crucial point here is that we need a major upgrade. We need to move from a traditional copyright system, which is kind of like a single safe guarded by one person, to a massive, transparent glass vault watched by thousands of independent people all at the exact same time. And hey, this isn't just theoretical. Extensive academic research from institutions worldwide is already laying down the legal and technological groundwork for this huge shift. Scholars everywhere are looking into how distributed ledgers can act as law enforcement tools, perfectly aligning with the basic principles of copyright.
Let's break down the 4 pillars making this a reality, starting with decentralization. This is huge because it completely eliminates the single point of failure that plagues traditional centralized registries. Instead of one agency holding all the keys, the data is distributed across equally positioned nodes on a network. If one node goes offline, no problem. The system doesn't skip a beat. It completely dismantles information silos and stops any one central authority from abusing its power.
Next up is trustlessness. Now, don't let the name fool you. It doesn't mean you can't trust the system. It actually means you don't need to rely on blind trust anymore. Parties can transact safely using math and cryptographic algorithms instead of paying some expensive middleman to verify who owns what. The public ledger just does the verifying for you.
Then we have immutability, which is a total game changer for creators. It guarantees that once you claim your digital rights and your data is etched onto the blockchain, trying to alter or delete it becomes practically impossible. Hackers or infringers can't just tamper with your ownership record, because to do that, they literally need to take over more than half of the entire global network.
Finally, there's traceability. This ensures that absolutely every single interaction, license, or transfer of your work is permanently logged and super easy to verify. By using timestamping tech and unique hash values, the blockchain creates this unbroken, chronological history of your asset. You will always know exactly where your work has been and who's been using it.
All right, let's look at Section 3, automating with smart contracts.
So, what does it look like when we take those 4 abstract pillars and turn them into functional tools creators can actually use today? Well, we get a decentralized registration module. And what's crucial here is that it's not just a blind upload. The system rigorously verifies the originality of a work before anything is officially stamped onto the blockchain.
Let's break down exactly how that works in 4 steps. First, you upload your file, and the system immediately extracts a cryptographic hash value just to make sure this exact file hasn't been registered before. Second, it verifies your identity, metadata. Third, and honestly, this is the coolest part, it extracts a feature fingerprint using a Shazam-style algorithm. You know how Shazam can figure out a whole song from just a tiny audio clip? This system does exactly that. It compares segments of your file against an internal database to catch any plagiarized snippets. Finally, once you clear all those hurdles, the heavy file data goes to a system called IPFS, and your permanent ownership record is locked right into the blockchain.
And once you're securely registered, smart contracts take the wheel. You can think of them as your own autonomous digital agents. A smart contract is basically self-executing code that automatically enforces whatever licensing terms you set. If someone wants to use your work, they agree to your terms, and the very second they pay, the smart contract instantly zaps the royalties straight to your digital wallet. There's no waiting 90 days for a check to arrive in the mail, and absolutely no paying an agent a 20% cut just to process some paperwork.
And get this, the data shows this is already working out in the real world. Statistics are indicating a massive 20% decrease in copyright disputes since blockchain management was introduced in these test environments. When you make the rules perfectly transparent and the enforcement completely automatic, all that friction and fighting just vanishes.
Now for Section 4, a decentralized licensing marketplace and peer-to-peer licensing.
With all those mechanics humming along, we can look at the actual environment where these transactions take place, a peer-to-peer marketplace. Instead of relying on some giant corporate platform to sell your work, you interact directly with the buyer. You are the boss. You set your own terms, how long they can use it, in what geographic scope, and exactly what it costs. Users buy licenses right from you, and the smart contract handles transferring the file and the funds at the exact same time.
Now, building a marketplace like this takes a very clever architecture. Because, honestly, storing heavy, high-definition multimedia files directly on a public blockchain, way too expensive. The computational gas fees would be astronomical. So this marketplace uses a really smart hybrid system. You've got the application layer handling the user interface and watching out for infringement. Then the blockchain platform acts as your legal receipt, safely storing the tamper-proof metadata and logs. Finally, IPFS, the interplanetary file system, does all the heavy lifting, securely storing those massive actual work files.
Finally, Section 5, the future of creators and empowering the digital economy.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's really about how these distributed ledger technologies intersect with the real-world creative economy. As the research perfectly sums it up, by leveraging these innovations, blockchain-based copyright licensing systems unlock greater copyright value and incentivize creative endeavors. Basically, by stripping away all those legacy inefficiencies, preventing piracy through immutability, and guaranteeing you get paid fairly and instantly through smart contracts, this whole framework truly empowers creators. It gives you the freedom to put your work out there fearlessly, knowing the system inherently has your back.
As these automated, entirely transparent systems keep evolving and scaling up globally, proven to be faster, cheaper, and way more secure than the legacy institutions we're used to, it leaves us with one massive question to chew on. Will blockchain eventually make the traditional copyright system completely obsolete? Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.